cup of coffee at dinner, right? Or a cappuccino or an espresso, some nice Italian, coffee, matcha, latte, thingamabob, and I can fall right to sleep. Here's the trick is you may be able to do that, but if I put electrodes on your head and I looked at the quality of the sleep that you're getting, the bottom line here is caffeine's a stimulant. It just is. Whether anybody likes that idea or not, it is. And so the quality of the sleep that you're getting isn't good. So step number one is to have one wake up time. Step number two is to stop caffeine by 2 p.m. Step number three.
Is what would get somebody to, they haven't had the quality of sleep, so they wake up needing another cup of coffee, right? You and I don't need that,
no,
but other
hardly
people
ever.
might.
Yeah, absolutely. And so here's the thing is if you just wait in the morning for that cup of coffee, about 90 minutes after you wake up, what ends up happening is your cortisol levels begin to drop, and so you start to lose energy. So if you just wait 90 minutes and you drink your caffeine then, that's an extra little hack. It actually helps boost your cortisol, which is far more powerful than caffeine is in general. So I would argue that if you just wait 90 minutes after you wake up to drink your caffeine and you stop caffeine by 2 p.m., that little window of time, by the way, it makes caffeine much more effective. Step number three has to do with alcohol. And so, we talk about alcohol all the time. And the reason that we do is because so many people tell me that, in fact, alcohol is their sleep aid. Almost 20% of the entire population use alcohol to help them fall asleep at night. So let's talk about why that's not a good idea. So number one, alcohol affects what we call deep or physically restorative sleep. And so when we look at alcohol's effects in general, well, it does make you feel sleepy. It knocks out this stage 3 and 4 sleep, which is your physical restoration. So by the way, this is half the reason why you wake up with a hangover, is because you didn't get that deep physically restorative sleep. The other reason is because alcohol is a diuretic. It makes you have to pee. And so once you start, going to the bathroom, you become dehydrated. So the other half of the reason why you have a hangover is due to dehydration. So when I'm talking with people about using alcohol, I'm not a teetotaler. I'm not going to say, no, you can never have a glass of wine. No, you can never have a beer or a scotch. But what I am going to tell you is if you have one alcoholic beverage, you should drink one glass of water and wait 1 hour before bed. If you have two alcoholic beverages, you should drink 2 glasses of water and wait 2 hours before bed. Once you kind of hit the 3 alcoholic beverage mark, different things can happen to you from a physiological standpoint. One of the things that we've seen in the literature now is, in fact, that with women, when they drink alcohol past 3 drinks, they have a tendency to get more excitatory or more energetic as opposed to sleepy. The other thing we've discovered in men is when they hit that 3rd drink, they can become aggressive. And so at the end of the day, using alcohol to help you fall asleep doesn't make a lot of sense. If you want to enjoy adult beverage and you're out and about, or you're having dinner at home, or you've got a great bottle of wine and you want to check it out, I have no problems with you doing that. Just keep it to 2 glasses, have two glasses of water, and wait 3 hours before bed. I'm giving you an extra hour in there. So remember, step 1, one wake up time. Step 2, stop caffeine by 2 p.m. Step 3, stop alcohol 3 hours before bed. Step number 4 has to do with exercise. The single best way to improve the quality of your sleep is with daily exercise. The good news here is you don't have to run a marathon, right? 20 minutes of some form of cardio is really pretty much all you need to have the effects that you want to have for sleep. That being said, you don't want to exercise too close to bedtime. There's a reason for this. Your sleep cycle follows your core body temperature cycle. And so when we see that happening, we don't want to raise that core body temperature cycle with exercise because, in fact, that would make it much more difficult to be able to fall asleep. So what I tell people all the time is step number 4 is to exercise daily, but don't exercise within 4 hours of bedtime. And then the final tip has to do with waking up in the morning. So I know lots of people out there, they're like, ugh, I hate mornings. They suck. I can't get out of bed. All I want to do is hit the snooze button. This is terrible. So I'm going to give you the step 5 has to do with how to create a great wake up routine. So the first thing that you do is you never hit the snooze. Never. Okay? Why don't you ever hit the snooze? The average snooze is between 7 and 9 minutes long, and it doesn't allow you to get back into deep sleep because it takes longer than that to get into deep sleep. So oftentimes what I'm telling people is all you're going to do is give yourself light, crappy sleep by hitting the snooze. So do yourself a favor. Never hit the snooze. Step number 2, you should have by your bedside a glass or in a reusable container, room temperature water, 16 to 20 ounces. That's the very first thing you should do is you should drink that water and then walk outside and get 15 minutes of sunlight. What most people don't know is sunlight actually affects the brain by turning off the melatonin faucet in your brain. So this is a really cool way to get rid of brain fog in a very healthy way. So what I do is I grab my water, I grab my French bulldog, we go outside, I let him do what he needs to do, and then I'm outside, I do my breathing exercises, I get direct sunlight, and I drink my water. And I got to tell you something, it's a great way to start your morning, it's very healthy, and it helps wake you up in a very scientific way.
Well, these all sound very doable. And under normal circumstances, I would think that it would be a very quick and easy ramp up to a better night's sleep. But we're in the midst, probably for a much longer time, of this global pandemic and all the repercussions. And the one thing that I hear is a common theme for people is exhaustion. Yes. Have you adjusted your advice or how people can better handle what's going on in our world today?
So here's what's fascinating is the 5 tips that I just gave everybody. If you followed those exactly, you would not have any of this level of exhaustion. So here's what's so fascinating is the biggest reason well, there's 2 reasons really why we're starting to see so much exhaustion right now. Number 1 is people are not waking up at the same time. They're staying up late and watching Netflix or whatever, and then they're sleeping in. So they're using their commute time to sleep in and catch up on sleep. And what's happening is they're not waking up on a consistent level, and that's causing a lot of morning sleepiness and grogginess and what we call fragmented sleep. The second thing that's happening for people that's messing things up quite a bit is people are not moving. So the primary reason why we sleep is for physiological and mental restoration, right? Kind of a recharge the batteries idea. Well, if we're not moving around, we don't need to recharge as much. And so our body does not necessarily go into as deep a sleep. This can be very disconcerting and make you feel even worse. This is, again, one of the reasons why step number 4 is exercise every day, but just don't exercise too close to bedtime because you don't want that heat to keep you up. But those 2 things, keeping that consistent sleep schedule and moving daily, turn out to have a dramatic effect on this level of exhaustion. There's 2 other factors, one of which we've talked about already and one of which we haven't. One factor which we have spoken about is alcohol. Once again, lots of people are saying, hey, it's wine time at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, or I'm tired of dealing with my kids home all day type of thing. Again, alcohol too close to bed absolutely, positively has an effect on your sleep. And to be clear, the data is very consistent. Alcohol reduces immune function, period, end of story. So if you are immunocompromised or you're concerned about your immune function during this particular time of COVID, drinking alcohol is just about the last thing that you would want to do. The other area that we have not addressed that is important to speak about is stress. I've got to tell you something, Christine. I don't know about you, but I've never been under this amount of stress in my life. And it's a different kind of stress than the type of stress that I've really always considered and thought about. It's like it's an overwhelming stress. Like I'm not just concerned about my health. I'm concerned about my children's health. I'm concerned about my wife's health. I'm concerned about my family's health. I'm concerned about your health, my friends. It's like I'm just waiting to hear the next friend of mine that all of a sudden has COVID and wondering, is that going to be me next? And what are the ramifications? And that's just on the health side of things. I mean, much less if you're trying to start a business or you're trying to maintain a business right now. There's so much uncertainty out there. I would argue that we have tremendous levels of stress. So is that contributing factor to this level of exhaustion? Absolutely. Number 1, I feel like our fuses are a bit shorter nowadays. And then number 2, we're just not getting good rest. So I think you're right. I think that right now we are seeing a lot of things and we've got to really tighten things up, right? Now is the time, I would argue, to be more consistent, not less consistent. Now is the time to almost be militant in your scheduling and getting your body right and ready. Because I got news for everybody out there. Like, this is not changing. This is not going away. And so we need to really figure this part out. And now is a great time to figure out your sleep.
Well, I thank God and thank you for being here to deliver to us some actual actionable tools that we can all take action on. And I hope that you will come back, because I have a ton more questions. And I know lots of other people do too. I'm dying to hear how we can change our nutritional habits to
Yes.
support this. And in the meantime, tell us all how we can find you, and let's get a good night's rest.
Yeah, let's do that. So everybody can find me if you go to www.thesleepdoctor.com. It's pretty easy to remember. If you want to learn more about that quiz I was talking about, it's called chronoquiz.com. You can also get there from thesleepdoctor.com, so don't worry about that. And I'm always dropping hacks and tips and fun facts on Instagram and Facebook, and you can find me there at The Sleep Doctor. That's my handle.
Thank you so much again. It has been an incredible show, incredible valuable tools for all of you. I hope that you will all get a good night's rest. Thanks so much to The Sleep Doctor. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you to all those resilient leaders out there. This is Dr. Michael Breuss, The Sleep Doctor, wishing you sweet dreams.